As you work through developing your critical response essay, one thing that you'll need to pay attention to is the references page. So this video is going to show you how to do an APA formatted reference for William Hahn's article, "I Spent the Last 15 Years Trying to Become an American." I will also give you a few tips and tricks for how to add in your supplemental source. Although I can't show you how to do that because everybody has different sources, I will tell you a few things that will help you get it on the page correctly. So we're going to start by centering the word references at the top of the page. Then we're going to come back to left alignment, and we're going to make sure that the page is double spaced. So we're going to start with the author's last name, comma, first initial, and then a period. That ends our author piece of the entry. The next thing we do is the date. So I'm going to go back to our course. I'm going to click on the reading, and I'm going to see if I can find it here, June 23rd, 2015. So I'm going to put year first, comma, and then month, and then day, and then I'm going to close that parentheses, and I'm going to put a period. That ends our date piece of the entry. The next thing that I need to include is the title of the article, and we're going to use the reference page capitalization rule, which basically means that we put the title of the article into sentence case. We capitalize it the way we would capitalize a sentence. So the only thing that gets capitalized is the first word and any proper nouns or adjectives. So that's the title of the article, and we're going to end it with a period. Because this is a web article, something that we found online on the internet, we are going to capitalize the article title. I'm sorry, not capitalize, I apologize. We're going to italicize the article title, and then we're going to type the name of the publication, capitalize all main words, and we do not put that in italics. This shows that this is a web article or an online source. If this were published in Time Magazine and there was a volume and issue and a page number and it was on paper and you went and looked it up at the library, then these two things would be formatted differently. The title would be not in italics and the source would be in italics. But because this is an online source, this is the way that you format it. The next thing that we need is the URL for the article, and you're not you could try to copy this or type this out, but it's almost easier to just go to the web, to the internet, and search for the article, and then copy the URL from up here. That will make sure that you're getting it correctly. So then we're going to paste in the URL. Now this is all of the information that you need, but we need to format it into a hanging indent. So a couple of notes. First, just realize that you're going to have a second article here. So your second article might be, I'm just making stuff up off the top of my head. It's 2020 and today is October 28th. And we're going to call this source How to APA. Pro. And it was published in the DTCC Times, and it was www.blahblah.com. Okay? Actually, this needs to be longer. Blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to get it onto the second line so you could see how a hanging indent works. So now that you have two sources, this is going to be your secondary source, whichever article you've chosen and gotten approved. So when you have two sources, you want to highlight both of them at the same time, and then go up here and drop down under paragraph. You can choose indentation, special, and then select hanging. Make sure that this is 1/2 inch, and then hit OK. So this is what a references page looks like when it's formatted correctly. The first line stays to the left, and then any subsequent lines are indented so that you can easily see where each entry starts. And we do this so that we don't need to change any of the spacing on the page. Every line is just double spaced from every other, but we instantly know where the reference starts. It also makes it easy to compare your citations in the paper. So if I'm reading a page in your essay and you quote something and you put in parentheses the embedded citation Hahn 2015, it's easy for me to look at this references page and say, oh, okay, this is that information. Whereas if you are quoting your supplemental source and your citation says Truett to 2020, then when I look at the page, I'll know instantly that this is the source. So whatever information starts out right here is what is going to go in your citation, because that makes it easy for your audience or your reader to find the reference later on the references page. It is important to note that your sources should be in alphabetical order. So because this is Hahn, it starts the page and Truett comes after that with the T. But if this were a different name, then you would need to move this ahead of Hahn so that the A came before the H. So just make sure that you are organizing it appropriately on the page. All right, other than specific questions that you might have about your individual sources, this covers the basics of how to put together your references page in Microsoft Word. I'm going to copy this very quickly, and I'm going to put it into a Google Doc because I want you to see how to format the hanging indent here. We'll start by making sure it says references at the top. We only need one line between the word references and the start. We have our sources already in alphabetical order, but here what we're going to do is go to Format, Align and Indent, Indentation Options, and we're going to choose Hanging under Special, and just make sure that this is a 1/2 inch, and hit Apply. And now we have the same format on a Google Doc. So whether you're working in Word or in Google, this is the basic information that you need in order to create your references page for the critical response.